Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a development so shocking it could change history. Reports suggest Ukraine has executed a maneuver on the battlefield that could go down as the largest encirclement since the Second World War. More than 100,000 Russian soldiers are said to be surrounded, cut off from supplies, reinforcements, and escape routes. If confirmed, this would not only be catastrophic for Russia, but a potential turning point for the entire war. The story begins with Ukraine's summer counteroffensive. For months, analysts speculated about when and where the push would happen. Russia expected predictable assaults, grinding attempts to break fortified lines. But Ukraine flipped the script. Instead of charging head-on, they used deception, diversions, and carefully planned feints. Russian units were drawn deeper and deeper into exposed positions, believing they were advancing securely. Behind the scenes, Ukraine built a trap. Their forces maneuvered quietly around the flanks, cutting roads, bridges, and supply corridors. The result is what military historians call a classic cauldron battle, a trap designed to collapse on enemy forces from every direction. When the ring closes, escape becomes nearly impossible. What makes this encirclement remarkable is not only the size, but the quality of troops trapped. These aren't inexperienced conscripts. Among them are Russia's most seasoned brigades, mechanized infantry, armored divisions, and elite paratrooper units. Many had been pulled from other fronts to hold key defensive lines in eastern Ukraine. Now they are encircled, under relentless artillery fire and drone strikes, with no way out. Ukrainian forces, backed by Western intelligence and satellite surveillance, appear to have prepared every detail. Artillery batteries are positioned on high ground, targeting every choke point and crossing. Drones circle above, feeding real-time targeting data, ensuring nothing moves inside the pocket without being seen. Convoys attempting breakout have been annihilated, leaving wreckage burning on the roads. The iron ring is tightening with every hour. For the soldiers trapped inside, logistics are collapsing rapidly. Ammunition is running low, food is scarce, fuel almost gone. Morale is plummeting. Reports suggest desertion and surrender are rising as units run out of options. It is a grim reminder of how quickly a modern army can be broken when cut off from its lifelines. Encirclements of this scale are almost unheard of in modern warfare. Mobility, technology, and precision usually prevent armies from being trapped in such massive numbers. The fact that Ukraine has pulled it off against a larger adversary is astonishing. If the figure of 100,000 holds, it would be historic. The last time the world witnessed something like this was during the great encirclements of World War II, such as Stalingrad. And this is where history becomes more than history. Analysts are already describing this as potentially Russia's Stalingrad moment in Ukraine. A defeat so devastating it shifts not just a war, but the direction of a nation. For the Kremlin, the political consequences would be enormous. Russia has spent decades building the image of an invincible army. Losing 100,000 troops in a single operation would shatter that image completely. Domestically, families would demand answers. Public support for the war, already fragile, could collapse. Internationally, the perception of Russian power would erode further. Ukraine, meanwhile, would gain an enormous morale boost. After months of grinding attrition, this would be proof of their ability not just to defend, but to outthink and outmaneuver. And this is where Elon Musk's warning enters the conversation. Because while Ukraine is reshaping the battlefield, Musk says the world itself is heading into something even bigger. Not just another recession, not another temporary downturn, but a complete transformation. He warns that people think in cycles, boom, bust, recovery. But history shows sometimes cycles break. When they break, the system rewires itself. Think about it. The encirclement in Ukraine is more than a battle. It's a symbol of an old order collapsing. Armies that once looked unstoppable now look fragile. The same dynamic is happening in the global economy. Debt, inflation, geopolitics, technology, forces converging to trap nations, companies, and families just like those soldiers inside the Ukrainian cauldron. Debt is the first great force Musk points to. Global debt has exploded to levels never seen before. Governments, corporations, households, everyone is carrying burdens they can barely manage. For decades, the solution was simple: borrow more, print more, lower interest. That strategy worked, until now. The United States alone spends around $1 trillion each year just paying interest. That's money not building infrastructure, not supporting health care, not strengthening retirement systems. Corporations borrowed cheaply to buy back stock and pay dividends. Families loaded up on mortgages, car loans, and credit cards. Now, with higher rates, those debts are strangling. It's like soldiers cut off from supplies. The lifeline has been severed. Inflation is the second great force. Everyone feels it: groceries, gas, rent. For retirees, inflation is a hidden tax, eroding savings and destroying fixed incomes. In the past, recessions pushed prices down. Not this time. Supply chains are shifting, governments are trapped, and stimulus policies often make inflation worse. It's like trying to put out a fire by throwing gasoline on it. Then comes geopolitics. For decades, the world ran on an American system: dollar supremacy, American companies dominating, American consumers driving demand. But the pandemic and this war shattered that illusion of stability. Medicines from China vanished. Chips from Taiwan stopped flowing. Energy prices soared when Russia turned pipelines into weapons. Nations are now building alternative payment systems, reshaping alliances, and rethinking trade routes. The global order is fragmenting, just like the Russian lines collapsing in Ukraine. Technology is the fourth force, and perhaps the most explosive. Artificial intelligence is rewriting the rules at breakneck speed. It's not just replacing factory work, it's moving into law, medicine, finance, and even creativity. Entire industries could be reshaped before policymakers even understand what happened. Unlike past revolutions, this isn't measured in decades. It's exponential, and it's already here. 3 generations are caught in this storm. Seniors see their financial security eroding, their autonomy threatened by costs and digital transitions. Working adults face unstable careers and unaffordable homes. Young people see blocked paths, student debt, soaring rents, uncertain futures. It feels like being trapped in a pocket with no clear escape. But here's the paradox. Just as Ukraine's encirclement proves a smaller force can outmaneuver a larger one, disruption also creates opportunity. The Great Depression gave birth to new institutions, social safety nets, and eventually prosperity. The stagflation of the 1970s set the stage for the technology boom. Musk's warning isn't pure doom. It's a challenge, a call to adapt, to stop waiting for the past to return, because it won't. That means rethinking education, not as something finished in youth, but as lifelong adaptation. Workers who reskill will stay relevant. Seniors who embrace digital tools maintain independence. Families who diversify investments protect themselves from shocks. Health becomes wealth, because resilience in body and mind matters as much as resilience in finances. At the community level, disruption can strengthen local bonds. We saw it during the pandemic: neighbors helping neighbors, small businesses reinventing, communities building networks of support. Intergenerational cooperation, seniors with wisdom, younger people with energy, middle generations with leadership, could become a game changer. Technology, while disruptive, is also the pathway forward. Clean energy, AI breakthroughs, medical innovations, they're not just risks, they're opportunities. The question is whether we adapt fast enough to ensure they benefit the many, not just the few. The next 48 months may decide everything. On the battlefield, Ukraine is tightening the noose on 100,000 Russian troops. In the economy, debt cycles are reaching breaking points. Inflation remains stubborn, geopolitical maps are redrawing, and technology is accelerating beyond control. Both fronts, military and economic, show the same lesson. Those who fail to adapt are trapped. Those who innovate survive. For the soldiers inside Ukraine's encirclement, the outcome is bleak. Breakout attempts are destroyed, reinforcements blocked, surrender the only hope. For nations and families inside the global storm Musk describes, the choices are just as stark. Denial leads to collapse. Adaptation leads to renewal. So this isn't just another battle. And it's not just another recession. It's something bigger, something transformational. A moment where history bends, where old orders collapse, and new possibilities emerge. The question isn't whether we'll survive, it's whether we'll use this storm to build something stronger, more resilient, and worthy of the generations that follow. If this gave you perspective, leave a comment below. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. And don't forget to like and subscribe, because history is being written right now, on the battlefield in Ukraine, in the economy, and in the choices we make every day. The more prepared we are together, the better chance we have to face it with confidence.